This is Tony Stewart, and thanks for watching a Bike Lab Daily Update. This is the first week, the opener for Oklahoma Road Racing with the full gas Omnium this weekend. And we have a lot of new racers coming through the shop and on our cycling club and out in the community. We get the questions a lot. What should I eat, or how should I eat in the midst of a race? What I will tell you is there's lots of opinions on this, but when you're in the middle of a race in a tight-knit group and you don't know when an attack is going to happen, speed, convenience, and getting that thing put away is important. I remember a year I was down at Pace Bend Racing and I had a lot of those scratch rice cakes I'd made because that book had just come out and it was super popular around the portables. And 3 times in that race with 3 of those portables, I got it out, I tried to take a bite, the rice was falling apart, I was choking on the rice, an attack would happen. I ended up tossing them just to the side of the road each time because it was just impossible to be in a race and eat those well without feeling like it's either going to fall off my bike or choke on some rice. So speed and access to some of those foods are going to be important. Now, in the world of nutrition, you can see right to left, there's Scratch, there's Osmo, there's RX Bar, there's Goo, there's a Cell Gel, there's recovery drinks from Ultragen and all those. You can kind of see there's a big view of all those different kind of products, but I'm going to get real practical with you on the things I think will work really well. Now, there are the solid foods like RX Bars, and Scratch has its own energy bar. If it's a longer road race and you feel like there might be times you could get something down, something like these RX bars are really nice. They don't break apart, they're not crumbly, they have a little bit of moisture to them. So as you open them up and try to eat them on the fly, you can take a bite and even shove it back into your pocket and not feel like it's going to fall apart. So if you want something solid, which if it's a longer road race is recommended having 1 or 2 things like that, just because just sugary gels the whole time can start to cause some problems with your stomach. I really like these. Bonk breakers fall apart for me. Waffles fall apart for me. Scratch portables kind of fall apart for me. So when it comes to solid foods, these and bananas are kind of the only solid foods I try beyond like a PB&J. But peanut butter and bread is pretty gummy in your mouth when you're riding as hard as you possibly can and sweating. When it comes to primary nutrition in a race, shot blocks and gels like the Cell Gel or Goo are really, really effective. I know shot blocks are popular with a lot of people, and even in cross-country mountain biking, they're popular because you can tear the top, pop a couple out, throw it back in your pocket, and you just kind of eat it as you go. So just because it stays together, because it's easy to tear and get the top off and then put it back in a pocket if necessary, the shot blocks are, again, kind of a solid that work really well. But I've found that my primary nutrition in road races when I need them is going to be a gel. You can tear the top off, you can one-handed open it, eat it, throw the trash back in your pocket and not be any worse for wear. It gives you the energy you need. But if you're hitting these, you got to make sure that at least one of your bottles is water and not hydration or sugary mix, because these are pretty sugary, and so you don't want to create too much sugar in your system because then your body can absorb water the way it's supposed to. So primary nutrition, I really recommend a gel. And then, you know, during the race, we have Osmo and Scratch here. We've been using Scratch for a long time. It's really gentle on your system. It hydrates you really well, which is the whole point of a drink mix. It's enough calorie for your body to absorb it in as well with the hydration and electrolyte mix that's in there. This is not going to be your primary source of nutrition. Just consider it supplemental. But having these in your bottles, if it's a longer road race, 2 bottles on the bike, 1 in the pocket, and you can do 2 with Scratch and 1 water, or 2 with water and 1 with 2 Scratch in it, and kind of have a hydration electrolyte bottle and then regular water for the rest of the time. What I will say is Oklahoma races surprise you, and it might be 32 degrees and pouring rain, or 82 degrees and you're burning up in the sun. And so having all your bottles filled with hydration means you can't cool yourself off or splash yourself down with water. So I would not recommend putting Scratch in all your bottles. But if you need to have one that's super intense and just sugar and electrolyte, and then 2 water, is not a bad way to go. Now, the other thing that's true about racing is you're very rarely near someplace with food. So having a recovery mix like Osmo Recovery, First Endurance's Ultragen, or Scratch's recovery mix with you, just to get some calories in your system, especially for an Omnium. So when you get done with the race on Saturday, your recovery starts for Sunday's race as soon as you're done with your crit. And getting some recovery into your system not only hydrates your body and gets you ahead of the curve on electrolytes, it also gets the proteins and carbohydrates you need to be ready to race the next day and to get some gains from the effort you put into that event. So again, there's a lot of nutrition, but that's the general guide that we have for approaching road racing and some of my tips and advice. We have this whole swath of stuff here. You can come by and we can custom put together a package for you that gets you ready for this race weekend on what you need before, during, and after all your road races. I'm Tony Stewart, and thanks for watching the Bike Lab Daily Update.